bring him upstairs. The wounded man looks up through his one dying eyes. Says, why'd you bring him in here for? He ain't that guy. This is the story of the hurricane. The man the authorities came to blame for something that he never done. Put in a prison cell for one time he could have been champion of the world.
Phil, we have interviewed a gentleman before named Jeff Jenkins. We've interviewed Jeff Jenkins, the author. I had no knowledge that Jeff Jenkins was also a performer.
Well, we know better now, don't we?
Hello, Jeff Jenkins.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, guys. How you going?
Excellent.
That was dynamic, mate.
So, thank you. Yeah, I've actually spoken with Jeff Jenkins on the ABC. We had a doppelganger night one night over there.
Is that right?
Oh.
Yeah.
How funny is that?
He's a good guy, isn't he?
He is. He's a lovely guy, yes. The other Jeff Jenkins, of course, that we were talking of, is the guy who wrote the book on Molly Meldrum and another one on Shirley Strawn, I think.
Oh, he's written quite a few, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has, yes.
Mate, this will impress you. I was on a flight to LA once, I think with Pan Am years and years ago, and guess who was sitting up the pointy end of the plane? Bob Dylan.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Yeah, he was in the departure lounge with us, and that's the last we saw of him.
Yeah, he's a pretty private kind of guy.
Yeah.
Now, Jeff, you do a show called DYLANesque. It's the Bob Dylan story.
That's right.
Why Bob Dylan? When did Bob Dylan come into your life?
Well, I've been singing and playing for quite a while now, and just about after every gig I do, somebody will come up to me and say, geez, man, you sound like Bob Dylan. And for a while there, I didn't really know how to take that. I kind of, I was a bit ambivalent about that, but it is just the way my voice naturally sounds, I guess. So I started researching, looking into a bit of Bob Dylan more and more, and looking at the songs and looking at the times in which he lived in, and just thought, oh man, there's something here. I should really put some work in on this. And I've just been on this kind of journey of discovery. What an incredible life and what an incredible composer Bob Dylan is. And so I just thought I'd just marry up all the skills that I have and put on a show, basically, I guess, kind of educating people about Bob and bringing all those wonderful songs of his to the stage.
It's how much of the concert or how much of the show is the performing of the songs, and how much of it is talking about the songs and Bob himself?
Oh, look, I suppose it's about 75% of the songs and 25% is me sort of chatting away about, his life and times, who he was seeing, his religious conversions, how he went electric, his dedication, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, it's a lot of songs. We cram in about 40 songs into the just over 2 hours show.
He's a bit of a rebel, isn't he? Of course, last year he won the Nobel Prize for Literature. From memory, I don't think he turned up to receive the award, but perhaps sent a video clip later. Is that what happened?
It's a funny one. He sent Patti Smith originally to have a bit of to accept it on his behalf. Then I think somebody from an ambassador from American politics turned up, and then eventually Bob had a private ceremony. So he actually did go and get the award. I mean, wouldn't you? I think there was about $1 million attached to the award.
Yes.
I'd turn up.
Yeah, I certainly would.
Yeah,
in fact, I put my hand up and said, Bob, I'm happy to get it for you, mate.
Yeah. Hey, Jeff, he was more than and is more than just a great all-round entertainer. The man's really a poet, isn't he?
Oh, I believe so. Look, I've spent a lot of time, learning and looking at Bob's lyrics as I'm putting the show together, and I'm just astounded by the cleverness, the wit, the imagery that goes with his songs. I mean, he's an outstanding songwriter and he's an outstanding poet. I totally believe he deserved an award for literature. I mean, his work is up there with Shakespeare, with Walt Whitman, with anybody, with Dylan Thomas, all those kind of guys. He he's there. He's in there with them.
As a songwriter, he's almost in a class of his own, isn't he? I would say, if you're going to name the great lyricists in the world, Bob Dylan would obviously be there. But I'm trying to think of who else you'd put in there. Maybe Paul Simon.
Oh, absolutely. Paul Simon was I've been a huge fan of Paul Simon and Garfunkel since I was a wee kiddie. I think Paul Simon's lyrics are fantastic. Look, even though Bruce Springsteen's lyrics can be a little bit bombastic sometimes, I think I would put Bruce up there.
Yeah, he's done some great things. The River was a great one of his.
Oh, look, I'm a huge fan of Bruce's, and his concerts are amazing. I took my daughter to see Bruce when she was about 16, and she turned to me and said, "Okay, Dad, I get it. He's cool."
Oh, Jeff, how did you discover Bob Dylan?
Well, I think if you're, I'm 58, so I grew up in a time when music was changing, and music was just, to me, it was in its halcyon period. People like Dylan and the Beatles and, all those kind of people were changing music so much and in such a cool way. And then I grew up to sing my own songs, write my own songs. I don't think you can be a songwriter, and not be aware of Bob Dylan's work and not be influenced by his brilliance. I think anybody who attempts to write a song owes a small debt to Bob Dylan, because as you said earlier, he pretty much wrote drew the template for how to write a song and how to put imagery and poetry and great meaning, great thought behind his songs. So, Bob is just out there. He's in the DNA, if you ask me. Bob's always been a part of my life, whether I kind of knew it or not. And one of the things I really love about our show is that some people get dragged along. I mean, a lot of people go because they love Bob Dylan, they're real Dylan fans. But, a certain percentage of our audience kind of gets dragged along by a partner or a parent or something. And they come up to me afterwards going, "I had no idea how many Bob Dylan songs I know and love," and that's the thing. His songs were big hits for other people, whether it be Jimi Hendrix or Johnny Cash or Sonny and Cher or the Byrds or Manfred Mann. I mean, we all know his songs, whether we think we do or not. And that's one of the great things about doing the show for me is seeing people's faces and nuance going, "What? That's a Bob Dylan song. I thought it was an Eric Clapton song, or I thought it was a Jimi Hendrix song, or whatever."
So do you enjoy? And I guess you would see it happen. You would see people sitting there. The ones who have been dragged along would sit there with arms crossed, sitting in the front row next to their partners, and you would enjoy gradually winning them over the course of the show.
Absolutely. Look, and that's an entertainer's job, as you boys would know well. It's all about winning an audience over, and and the challenge when you see somebody who doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
It's like, right, pal, I'm going to get you, and I'm going to make you smile or laugh or tap your foot or something. You know what I mean?
Hey, listen, Jeff Jenkins, is Bob Dylan aware of your hero worship?
No, and I'm not sure what he'd take on it, what his take would be. Bob is such a shy and retiring kind of fellow. I think the idea of someone doing what I'm doing, I don't know, he'd probably think it's a little bit weird, really. I'd like to think that one day, it would just be the best thing if one day he was in an audience, he snuck in or something, and I got to meet him afterwards, and he came along and shook my hand, and I don't know, that would just be the most amazing thing. I have no idea what his take on it would be, though. I would like to think that he would enjoy it, because we're reverent in what we do, but we also take the piss a bit. We do kind of send him up a little bit and have a laugh at his expense, and I think he'd kind of dig that. I think he'd kind of like the fact that even though we're paying homage, we are doing it in a really kind of fun way.
Your show, DYLANesque, the Bob Dylan story, you're performing all over the place. Is there a central place people can go to see when and where, or would you like us to give out all the dates and contact?
Well, sure. I mean, we do have a website called DYLANesque.com.au, and that has, all the usual stuff that websites have on it, all the dates and stuff. But I'm happy for you guys to spruik it as well. That would be lovely. I mean, our next gig is Geelong Performing Arts Centre on the 17th of June. But from then we go off to Wagga and Shepparton and Chatswood and Wollongong and Gosford, and there's all sorts of plans for our show. So if people are keen, have a look at the website. There's some lovely pictures. I've picked the ones that make me look young and handsome.
Okay, so the main gig for us at the moment, and the first one will be Saturday, June 17. That's not so far away, at the Geelong Performing Arts Centre at 7:30. I'll give a phone number for bookings, Jeff, which is
Awesome.
5225 1200. So easy, 5225 1200. I think you should book soon, or the website is gpac.org.au.
Excellent work.
And if you're going to be in Wagga Wagga, Shepparton, Chatswood, and other places, just check out the website, as Jeff mentioned, DYLANesque.com.au has all the gig dates up there. But the tour kicks off on Saturday, 17th of June, as Phil said. So it's right around the corner. Get onto it.
Well done, Jeff. It's so original what you're doing.
Oh, well, thanks, guys. I mean, to us, it's an absolute honour and a privilege to play these fantastic songs and to get them out there and to turn people on to Bob, and to give them a little bit of more of the history of what was happening at the time. So, we love what we're doing, and we love entertaining the audience, and people are having a fantastic time when they come along. So I appreciate you guys getting on board and giving us some support.
Not a problem. Our pleasure. Good on you, Jeff. That was Jeff Jenkins. The show is Dylanesque, the Bob Dylan story. 2 hours of the best of Bob Dylan's songs. You couldn't fit them all in 2 hours, could you?
No, and his life story as well is going to be absolutely great.
The Small...
Take him to the hospital and bring him upstairs. The wounded man looks up through his one dying eyes, says, "Why'd you bring him in here for? He ain't that guy." This is the story of the hurricane. The man you thought is came to blame for something that he